Hi, I'm Casey Lackey for Innovative Sugarworks, and today I'm going to show you guys how to panel a square cake. I prefer to panel square cakes just because I like super sharp 90-degree corners and not kind of like the soft ones that you can get from covering it in one sheet. So this is how I like to do my square tiers. Feel free to do it yourself if you feel so inclined. So a couple of things you'll need for this is a self-healing mat, a very, very thin ruler. I like to get the rulers with the cork backing, and I just remove the cork backing from them, and then you have a nice thin flexible ruler, because you don't want to have a thick ruler will leave a very large edge on the edge of your panels, and you don't want that. You'll also need your fondant smoothers. I like this, the Valerie White one with the square bottom. It's called the Smedger. It's awesome. And then I've got my normal white one. An X-Acto knife with a very sharp blade. I always put a new blade on whenever I'm going to start paneling a cake just to be sure it's really, really sharp. And so I've rolled out my panels the day before. You want to let them dry overnight, because what happens is they set up a bit so that you can handle them without them stretching. They're still flexible, but you can see if this was normal fondant, it would be kind of trying to droop on me and pull out of shape. You don't want it to pull out of shape. So so this is a 7-inch square cake, and so what I've done is I always add half an inch to either direction or any side that I'm doing. So the top panel will be an 8x8 panel, and the side panels, with this one being 5 inches tall, will be 8x5.5 inches. So you end up with a half-inch border all the way around to cut off. So we'll go ahead and grab the top. You always want to start with the top. And I'm going to go ahead and cut one full corner square. So I'm lining it up with my lines on my self-healing mat, putting down my ruler. Cut that side square and move it down for this guy. And so then I'll use this point as one of my corners just to line it up so it's a little bit easier to cut. Just lay it on top, take your fondant smoother, adhere it. And all these panels, I've got a sheeter, so I cheat and use my sheeter, but they're rolled out to about a little under 1/8 of an inch thick is what you're going for. Much thicker, and it can you will end up breaking one of your corners, or it's just really difficult to cut. And so now, where'd you go? There you are. We'll take our ruler. And this is the one where you have to be a little bit dexterous. Just placing it up. And just commit to the cut. On this side. I'm right-handed, so usually it's easier to turn it. I was trying to do it towards the camera so you guys could see. Sometimes you just got to do it the right way, though. Don't forget to wipe down your ruler between every pass, because you will get a little bit of buttercream on it. And then usually, even though you square that edge up, there's a little bit of overhang that you have to get. But the top piece is always the hardest, because you're having to hold the ruler at a weird angle. You can't just let it rest on anything. You have to hold it and cut at the same time. It's kind of like trying to walk and chew gum. But save these pieces. They're still soft enough to where you can just re-knead them and use them again. Sometimes if you live in a really dry climate, they will dry faster than you want to or be harder than you want to. You kind of have to check your panels as you go to figure out what works in your climate. I know now for mine that like overnight usually is good. Sometimes I can go for 2 days. But if your panels get too dry, they're very difficult to cut. So now just using my fondant smoother to kind of make sure everything's still lined up. There we go. And now we'll start going for our sides. So you're always doing side, side, front, back. And for the sake of speed, I like to go ahead and grab 2. You want to cut the bottom edge square. Make sure it's completely flat so it will sit even on your turntable expander. So you're trying to cut a lot off here. You're just doing enough so that it's even. Touch. This is why I like this guy. And do 2 at once. And so then take your ruler. I always use the back side of the ruler because there's no numbers. There's little indentations in the metal on the other side so it can catch your blade as you're trying to cut. So I always go like this, hold in the center. Once again, just commit to that cut. You're pushing down on the surface of the ruler to ensure that you're getting a nice straight edge. Going to the side, and then you go to the other side. My panels are a little soft because it rained really hard last night in Seattle. Big shock. So that's why they're moving on me a little bit. So now I've got my sides done, so it's time to do our front and back. And so since I've got a little bit of cake showing right there, I'm going to make sure that's my back, because every cake has a back. But this also has a pattern going on it, so it won't matter that you can see that. So once again, same process. Repeat again, starting with the top, side, side, top, side, side. Always the same method. So then there you go. There's our lovely paneled cake with edges that you could cut your leg on. They're so sharp. And the great thing about learning how to panel and utilizing it too is you can start to color block cakes. So say you want to have the top a different color than the sides, or 2 sides to be one color and 2 sides to be a different color. You can always just roll out those different color panels and work with it that way. If you decided you wanted to do, these 2 panels the same color and you wanted to do this like front and the side, you can do that. It's just usually the rule is always go top, side, side, front, back. And then from here, you can also use a little bit of gunge and your yellow firm sugar shaper to actually fill in the seams and make them disappear. I usually say it's good enough like this, but it's all up to you, what you want to do for your cake and your clients. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video on paneling and go have fun and make some sharp edges.